Hey, happy Wednesday, guys. Before we jump into the podcast, I want to actually turn you on to a new podcast that I am actually a guest on today. And I think you're going to love it. It is not like anything in our industry or probably like anything you've really ever listened to, which I think is so cool. So it's called the School of Moxie podcast. I'm going to put all of this in the show notes, and it is brought to you by my friend, Mary Williams. She's amazing. She's been an online creator since 2010. We met at an event last year and have just remained friends online. And I think she's just a fantastic creative that you absolutely need to know about. So this first season of her podcast is centered around the first season of the HBO series, The Last of Us, based on the video game of the same name. So if you haven't watched it and you want to watch it, consider this your warning because we talk a lot about spoilers here. But in the podcast, she brings on different guests and we jump right into a conversation where we're going to spill the tea on the story and the plot and then how it relates to our lives and our businesses. And it's just a really amazing conversation. So there are already 3 episodes for you to jump into. My first episode, because I have a 2-parter, my first episode is today, and we're going to discuss business and celebrity and fandom. And then my next episode is on November 1st, where we kind of follow that up. And the way that she's outlined this is that each episode typically will follow one of the episodes of the show, or she's broken them up to really make it make sense. It's very, very cool, you guys. I know you're going to love it, and I can't wait to hear your feedback on it. So when you listen, make sure you share about it on social and tag us so that we can see it. I'll put all of that information in the show notes. And I just really can't wait for you guys to dive into this. It's been so fun to be a part of it. Welcome to Tried and True with a Dash of Woo, where we're all about mixing tried and true strategies that actually work with the magic of manifestation and the science of programming your unconscious mind so that you walk away feeling integrated, inspired, and aligned. I'm Renee Bowen, certified life and business coach, professional photographer, middle-aged wife, and mom to now 3 grown kids. I've built 2 multiple 6-figure businesses with 0 business training by digging in, learning the methods, and now I'm here to pass them all on to you. From photography and business strategies to energy healing, human design, and the basics of manifestation, we cover it all here. I'm here to help you embrace your multi-passionate brains and lean into the fastest and most efficient ways to reach your goals, whatever they may be. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, or maybe you're just here for the woo-woo, let's dive in and explore all the exciting ways to take your life, business, and self-improvement to the next level. Thanks for joining me, and get ready to be inspired. Okay, guys. Let's jump into today's podcast topic, which is clarity. Now, if you've coached with me before, you know that I am really big on clarity. It is, I think, of the utmost importance in our businesses and our life, because if we don't have clarity on what it is we want, how are we ever supposed to reach those goals? I think it's so important that I've actually use C.L.A.R.I.T.Y as an acronym for my methodology of coaching and of educating photographers and creatives, because I really believe that when we have clarity, and I'm going to outline that acronym for you, when we have this clarity, we can move forward with intention in a way that makes us feel really in alignment with what it is we truly want to do and who we want to become. All right, so let's break it down really fast. The C in C.L.A.R.I.T.Y stands for create your master plan. The L stands for live your life's purpose. The A, act with strategy. R, rewire your unconscious patterns. I, for immerse yourself in your dream life. T, for trust the plan or God or the universe. Y, for yes, affirm it daily. I am going to break down each one of these and show you how you can be using this in your life every single day to create the life and the business that you desire. Okay, let's start off with C, create your master plan. Now, I don't mean that you have to know every single detail about what you want out of life for the rest of your life right now. But I do believe it's important for you to have some pretty big goals, because if you don't stretch yourself in that way, if you don't stretch those goals and create big, big plans for yourself, it's going to be really difficult for you to feel the pull toward it. Okay. So this is not about creating all of this intense pressure so that you can like force yourself to get there. That's not what this is about. This is about you learning how to create a clear vision of what you want your life to look like. You can do this in a lot of different ways, but honestly, the best way to start if you've never done this kind of work before is to get a pen and paper out. And yes, I'm talking actually writing with your hand, like physically writing, because there's a lot of science behind this that shows that, we really do learn better this way. We process things better. So anytime you can do that, whether you're journaling and things like that, it's really important to actually put the pen to paper. So start there. If you've never done this, I want you to think about a big dream, a big goal. What would be absolutely freaking amazing if you could accomplish this in the next 10 years? And then I want you to back up. Okay, 5 years. Then let's kind of come back to 3 years. And then finally, just within the next year. Because I find, at least, that it is way easier for us to future pace and then backtrack rather than starting with these small incremental amounts of time and building up to it. Now, you might find that's different for you. You might find that you work better the opposite way. But for me, I really need to start with the ultimate big, big thing. And even if I don't have a very clear picture of what that looks like right now, I can kind of make it up, right? I can kind of make up like, all right, in 10 years, okay, my kids are going to be, this age, my life, I'm going to be this age. Where do I want to be spending most of my time? What kind of things do I really want to be spending my professional time on? Do I want to be working that much? How much time am I giving myself to travel? Who are the people in my life? Who am I around? Look around, you know what I mean? Like put yourself in that vision of the future and allow yourself to look around. Now, those of you guys who meditate, this is a fantastic exercise to do when you are meditating. You can even do some of my hypnosis tracks where I kind of help you future pace. It'll help you get into that mindset. But really, it's about like moving that unconscious mind aside, like really, really tapping into what it is you truly want and allowing yourself to go there. That's the other thing, is that most of us have these limitations that aren't even ours, right? When you find yourself thinking, like sometimes I ask my coaching students, what is it that you really want? And, where do you, I ask them these questions and I guide them through this process, because this process is basically the core of all my coaching. And this is a really big part of it, this clarity. And many times I will ask my coaching clients this question and they freeze. And it comes to the surface a little while later that the reason why they're so apprehensive about saying what they truly want is because they're hearing somebody else's voice in the background. Somebody else's voice is on a loop telling them that you shouldn't be talking about this. You shouldn't be thinking about big dreams of your future. You shouldn't be, who are you to desire this for yourself? Who are you to think that you can accomplish that? Pff, whatever. So it's really important that you find your people who you can align with, whether it's peers, whether it is, your friend group or a mentor or a coach or someone who really can help guide you through that process, because some of our programming is so deep and so thick that it feels impossible to wade through it completely on your own. So I encourage you to carve out some time to really, really outline for yourself. And then once you do that, I want you to put it up somewhere you can see it every day. Okay. Yeah. Those long-term goals, they're going to change. You know what I mean? Like, yes, chances are they might shift and change. But a big part of this is knowing your why and your purpose. And this is something I talk about a lot. And if you've coached with me, whether in a group program in Elevate or inside of my one-on-one coaching, you know that this is the first step. This is the first step. We got to know what your purpose and your why is, because when you truly understand that and you are operating from that place of clarity, then this future pacing and this goal setting becomes so much easier. Okay, so that L, right? Live your life's purpose. We already just touched on that just a second. This is leading us right to the next part. Living your life's purpose. Going through this why work is really hard for a lot of my coaching students. And, one of the first things that we talk about is this could be very charged for you. It could be hard for you to sort of like look at this as a neutral observer. It could take you a minute. Some of my coaching students, it's something that they're working on for the first like several weeks. And some people, they blow right through it. It really depends on so many factors. Everyone is different, just like anything else in life. So if you're having a hard time really outlining that and, working through that process, please give yourself a break, first of all, because you can't really get anywhere of value if you are continuing to beat yourself up. So that's the big part of it. But living your life's purpose, first of all, you've already been living your life's purpose. Doing this work of discovering it and putting it on paper, that is just being intentional. That's just like taking out your highlighter and highlighting it. But you've already been living your life's purpose in a lot of ways. However, most people think that when I say, hey, let's find your why, let's outline your why and your purpose, they think I mean like within what they do. Like if they're a photographer or a senior photographer, a wedding photographer, or any kind of creative, they think that what I mean is how that relates to what they do. But in truth, I don't mean that at all. I mean that who are they really? Who are they deep down? And it only really relates to what we do in a way that it is how we express. That's how we express our why. That's how we express our purpose, is through what we do, right? So I've talked about this a lot. I'll probably never stop talking about it. It's really, really, it's so important. So many of you are out there just like running businesses and trying to find clients, and you can't figure out why you can't get clients. And when I ask you, what kind of content you're creating or what your marketing plan is, most of you don't really have one. But if you do, it's really disjointed. It's not like you have a specific plan in place and you're just kind of throwing stuff up against the wall, hoping it sticks, hoping that it lands, not really knowing who you're speaking to, not feeling confident, right? So that's really what it comes down to, is living your life's purpose, outlining this why, really integrating it and feeling it. That gives you confidence. And when you have confidence, you can not only tell people what you do with excitement and passion, but you can ask for the sale, which is something that a lot of you have issues doing. So all of this is, part of your self-awareness tool belt. There's a lot of little different pieces to this. And some of us respond better to some modalities than others, right? That's part of my job inside of coaching, is to figure out what works for you and help you hone that, help you develop that. It's not about me. It's not about what works for me. It's about what works for you. And for a lot of you, you were either told not to do this kind of work, not to be so self-centered, right? Quote unquote, self-centered. Some of this type of work was looked at as selfish, or, you were taught to be humble and not brag and not talk about what you do. But I want you to flip that on its head. You absolutely deserve to spend some intentional time doing this kind of work. You are worthy just as you are. You're worthy just because you're alive. Why not celebrate that? Living your life's purpose and letting it literally ooze out of you in all of your marketing and everything that you talk about, even just in your personal daily life, living that life's purpose is literally the best gift that you can give yourself. You were put here to shine. Okay. I don't care who told you the opposite. I want you to file it away, put it in a box, bury the box, burn it first if you need to, but put that away. Okay. It's time for you to step into your awesomeness and to shine. And then the letter A, act with strategy, means to take action, because if you don't take inspired action and don't actually do something to move yourself in the direction of these dreams, you'll never get them. This doesn't mean that you need to do all the time. Okay. No. We're going to talk about some other aspects in a second, but the action part is really important. Okay. So a lot of you guys have analysis paralysis. This is a very, very common thing with creatives in general. We have very overactive brains. They can sometimes seemingly work against us. They tend to just think their own thoughts. And we, as creatives, we have a lot of thoughts, and sometimes they're really fast. But then when it comes time to take action on the thoughts, that's where we find ourselves paralyzed. And usually it's because of some kind of overthinking, self-doubt, not feeling confident, all of that kind of stuff, right? You see where all of this is, how it all relates. When we overthink, then we start to entertain all of these fear-based thoughts, and then we stop. So like if you sit down to make a post on social media, let's just use this as an example, and you are all set with your content. You have an idea, you actually start, maybe you use ChatGPT to get you started, whatever it is, you get started, and then you go to make the post, and then you start to second guess yourself. Well, what if this doesn't really hit the right way? What if I'm not reaching the right people? What if so-and-so sees this and thinks this about me? What if this is too inflammatory? What if? And a lot of you guys don't even get to that point, because you tell me a lot of times, I don't even know what to say. I don't know what to say. Well, that's because you're not really clear on who you're talking to. So you really need to know your target client. But also in part, it's fear. So you allow all these fear-based thoughts to like kind of stick in there, because again, any kind of thought that you allow to stick around is going to attract more of those thoughts. And so before you know it, you've just got a head full of crappy thoughts. You're feeling pretty crappy about yourself. And then what do? You just don't make the post. And then before you know it, it's been 6 months and you haven't made a post at all, you haven't marketed, and you don't have any clients. This can also happen when you get really busy. I talk about this a lot with the feast or famine. You're shooting and you're editing. If you're a photographer or whatever kind of creative business you run, you are doing a lot in your business. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, I haven't been marketing. So now I don't have clients and I have to like dig in and start all over again. Again, I want to make sure you understand that I'm not saying that I want you to be doing all the time. But if you aren't taking any kind of action in your business, if you're not making that post, if you're not marketing, if you're not creating that ad, if you're not digging into your business and figuring out your numbers, like what are my actual business numbers? Maybe numbers make you want to throw up and have anxiety like it did for me, because hello, I could barely pass 6th grade algebra. So, if you're in that place, you just shut down, you're allowing your brain to run the show. You're allowing that old unconscious programming basically to run the show. And I don't want that for you. I want you to take control. So even if you can't take a big action right now, I want you to take a small action. These can be little baby steps, but I want you to move toward that goal. Those goals that you set in step number 1 with the C, you've got to move toward that goal. So even if it's a little tiny baby step, even if it just means you made a small post today, or you created a new social media account, maybe you've never been on TikTok and you made the jump and you created the account. Maybe you took a class, maybe you signed up for mentoring, maybe you met with a person that you admire or a peer group and you are putting yourself around like-minded people. All of those steps are moving you in that direction. So as long as you're doing that, you're taking action. Now, the R in this acronym is my favorite, and not just because my name starts with R, but because it stands for rewire, your unconscious mind. Now, Y'all know, if you've been around me for half a second, how much I talk about rewiring and reprogramming your unconscious and your nervous system. This is so important. Yes, we could have an entire podcast on this, but I'm going to spend about 4 minutes on this right here. And I'm going to see if I can really hammer this home for you. Most of us are still running programs from our childhood. Okay. Most of us have been programmed from the age of 7 or before, because that is when what our brain was doing. Our brain was doing what it was wired to do, which is soak in all the information around us, soak in everything, not just the good stuff, but a lot of the bad stuff. And a lot of us have a lot of trauma. Okay. I've talked about this a lot. I'm a Gen Xer. You don't have to have a big trauma, like a big T. It could be a little T. It could be a lot of different things that happen. But the point is that all of that stuff gets stuck. It gets stuck in your unconscious. And before you know it, you're an adult and you're still acting from that place of childhood, right? Maybe someone told you when you were younger that you weren't worthy, or maybe you had some abandonment in your life, or maybe, you came from a really loving family and you still had some other stuff happen to you outside of the family. The point is that we all have our stuff. Everybody's got their baggage. Okay. Some of us just have a lot more than others, but we've all got some baggage, and your unconscious is just running that script. That's its job. So its job is to keep you alive, to keep you safe. And because it's something so deep and ingrained and a habit, like it's a habit, it's trying to keep you safe. So when you try and step out of it and do something different and do something bigger or want something bigger, it pulls you back. It's that little self-sabotage voice in the back of your head that says, no. Who are you? Who are you to think that? That's not safe. That's not safe. So it's up to us to really teach our bodies and our mind that we are safe, that we can be in the driver's seat. I always like to use that visualization of being in a car, okay? You don't want your unconscious mind driving the car. And most of us do sort of like live hypnotically, where we just go about our days, we're not really in control of our actions as much. We just, especially the last few years, there's a lot of collective trauma happening in the world. And so we are very rightly so bogged down by that. And it's very easy to just, numb out, turn it off. I don't really want to participate anymore. It's too much. And so we let our unconscious run the show, drive the car. And when we're doing that, we're allowing that fear to actually be the one, calling the shots, because it's never going to stretch you. It's never going to give you an idea that, of something amazing. It's never going to give you like an awesome creative idea, like, hey, we should do this, because it's just trying to keep you safe. And for it, safety means stay the same. Don't color outside these lines. But that's not who you really are. And so it's really up to you to decide, to choose, because it's a choice, just like everything. It's a choice. You can decide to prioritize this. You can decide to prioritize rewiring that stuff. And there's a lot of different ways you can do it. Y'all know I love me some hypnosis. I am certified in hypnosis, and I like listening to hypnosis tracks. So I create a lot of different tracks. So that's a really awesome way, because you don't really have to participate too much in it. You can just allow your unconscious mind to do the work. And I know the first few times you do it, you just kind of feel like, okay, this isn't really doing anything, but I feel really relaxed and, kind of chill. So that's nice. But then this always happens. I always, after about 2 weeks of a client consistently doing the tracks, they will always message me and be like, okay, holy crap, this stuff actually works. You'll start to notice that all of a sudden, you're just not really entertaining those fear-based thoughts anymore. Like all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, something's weird, something's missing. And it's those fear-based thoughts. They're just not clouding you. It absolutely works. Meditation, phenomenal. A lot of people have a hard time meditating. So I always say, if you have a hard time meditating, start with hypnosis. It is a lot easier, I think, especially for those of us with these creative, overactive brains. There's a lot of other different ways. Journaling, using journaling prompts. I have a few freebies in the store about this. There's so many journal prompts. You can even ask ChatGPT to come up with a few for you that are really based on what you want to specifically work on. Obviously, therapy is always a good idea. I highly encourage you to look into some kind of therapy if you are struggling with a lot of trauma. And somatic therapy is phenomenal for this type of work because the trauma really does live in our body. Some of you know that I was a massage therapist in my previous life, and I really believe that we hold trauma in our bodies. So Louise Hay is a favorite author of mine. She's no longer with us on this plane of existence, but she was an amazing teacher in that realm. If you have any interest whatsoever in that kind of stuff, just look up Louise Hay, Louise L. Hay. I'll put this in the show notes for you. She has a lot of great work on this, but since then, somatic therapy in the last 5 years, I want to say, is really exploding. You can find an actual somatic therapist to work with you. One of my really good friends and clients, Danica Lynch, this is what she does. I'm going to put her contact in there too, because she's local to the LA area. And actually, I think she also travels quite extensively. So reach out to somebody, look online, Google somatic therapy. There are so many resources. And when it comes down to it, what really matters is that you find what works for you. The bottom line is that you cannot access your life in a full and joyful way if you are still struggling with all of this other stuff deep down. When you start to uncover this, clear it, the expansion and the freedom that you feel is so incredible. And it really leaves more room to fill your life and your business with so much joy. All right, next, we're going to talk about the I in clarity, and it stands for immerse yourself in your dream life. You're going to have to be a little delusional, okay? Delulu, if you watch a lot of TikToks. You got to be a little delusional with your immersion of yourself in the kind of life that you want. You have to believe that it is possible, at least a little bit. And let me give you a little hint. When you first start doing this kind of work, if you're new to it, it's going to feel really weird, and it's going to feel like you're going to feel really silly. I'm just going to be honest with you. You're going to be like, okay, Renee, I don't have a big, beautiful house on the beach. How can I, envision myself having that kind of thing? I want you to start small. Sure, go there with those visions and those dreams from step one in the C, right? Get that big vision, but then let's trickle it back down, to something small, maybe a little bit out of your reach, and start to really immerse yourself in that. You have to take baby steps, okay? When you were learning how to walk, you didn't do it in one day. I mean, some people did. My son was kind of like that, but you know what I mean. We normally don't go from not being able to walk at all to running, okay? There are some steps in between. We have to crawl, we have to get up, we have to do that little weird rocking thing that babies do, and we have to launch ourselves off, and then we have to stand next to a chair and then let go. There's a lot of little different steps. You have to take those baby steps. That's why they call them baby steps. You got to take the baby steps in immersing yourself in this vision. So even if it means setting aside 5 minutes every morning to put yourself in that vision of your life that you so desire. It could be the full vision. It could be just a small part of it. It could be just the business part of it. It could be I'm shooting 10 more clients by the end of this month. Even if you don't have any on the books right now. I actually just had this conversation with one of my one-on-one coaching students this morning. She was like, you know what? It's so weird. I have people on the books for every other month except October. And I'm like, okay, yes, you do. You absolutely do have people on the books for October. Let's go there. And that's kind of what I'm talking about. Set aside, decide how many clients you want on the books by the end of this month, and really allow yourself to set aside some 5-10 minutes to put yourself in the feeling of what it would feel like to have those clients. Allow yourself to actually feel how awesome, how fulfilled, how fun, how exciting it's going to be for each of those photo shoots. Be delusional about it. Go there with it. Like, create the fantasy. We don't dream enough in our business. We don't daydream enough. We're creatives. We literally are built to daydream. You probably created the business you have right now because of a daydream or a dream that you once had. But then once you get in business, it's like, oh, you got to do all these things and you have to like all these, moving parts and all the numbers start freaking people out. You got to still be willing to dream and to be curious. This is also the part where everybody talks about manifestation, where they say you have to be the energetic match for what you want, right? Everything has a frequency. So I always call it our radio beacon. Like if you want to picture, you've got like a beacon coming out of the top of your head. What is it putting out? What is it emitting? What are you getting back? Well, there's a frequency for the version of you. I really believe that we have multiple timelines and there is a version of you living that life, because if you had the vision, it does exist. I believe this, and a lot of people believe this, that if you have that thought, then it means it exists somewhere on a different plane of existence, in a different realm, a different timeline, right? So it's about being the energetic match for that version of you. The version of you who has that. What does he or she do? What do they do on the daily to have that, right? What kind of habits do they have? What kind of thoughts do they think? What kind of things do they put into practice daily? And then start doing that now, because that is how you collapse time. A little woo-woo? Absolutely. But sorry, that's who I am. I truly believe it. And I really have used this for so many years. Like, it absolutely works, you guys. It absolutely works. I could give you case study after case study, but we have to move on to the T in clarity. Okay. And this is a really big part of manifestation, whatever you want to call it. It is trusting the universe, God, whatever you call it, whatever you identify that higher power as. That trust part, that letting go, ooh, this is hard for y'all. It's hard for me too. It's hard for all of us because it is a control thing. We're like, wait. We want to control the future. We want to collapse the time. But now you're telling me that I have to let it go? Yep, I'm telling you that you have to let it go. This is where faith comes in. If you are religious and you were brought up that way, there's a reason why this was taught. Okay. It's about trusting that your highest good absolutely will always come to fruition, knowing deep down that all is well and that everything is working out exactly the way it is meant to for you, and that your timing is absolutely perfect. For me, this is such a freeing part of it because I'm a control freak. I'm not going to lie. I literally I am the poster child for control freak. This has been an ongoing battle my whole life. I think a lot of you guys can absolutely identify with this. And the overthinking and the controlling and the, trying to overanalyze and analysis paralysis, all these things go hand in hand. But this letting go, when I really step into that and practice it and live it, it just feels so much better because we can't carry it all. We are just really not meant to. And whatever it is that you believe, you are taken care of, right? I want you to look back. I want you to see the proof, because your unconscious mind really likes proof, and that's how it learns by experience. So by saying things to yourself like, all is well, literally all is well. Sometimes that's just all I repeat to myself as I fall asleep at night. All is well, all is well. And saying things like, my timing is perfect. I know that the universe has my back. Life is working for me at all times. If you're religious, insert the word God or whatever it is that you believe in there. But the key is that you do this. The key is that you really believe it and that you feel it and that you literally let it go. Because when you are holding on to something so tightly, okay, think about it this way. Think about that person in high school that you had a really bad crush on, and you just, or maybe you had an actual relationship with somebody, like, a young love, first love situation where it was very intense. Okay. And then it became very needy. You became very needy. Well, that is not attractive, right? Like, have you been on the other side of that? Have you been on the receiving end of someone else needing you so much and trying to like hold you down and tie you down and kind of control you? That's not great energy, right? The need, like when you say things like, I need money, or I need this person, that energy is desperation. And there's no freedom in desperation. There's no space. There's no openness. It's very closed. It's very constricted. But when you let it go, and you truly let it go, and you really sit in that space of breathing and trusting, deeply, deeply trusting that the universe has your back and that all of this is already set in motion. It's already happening. It's already happened. And then you can be really grateful for it. And that gratefulness is literally the key to life. Like the gratefulness is what raises your vibration. The gratefulness is what puts you out of your own stuff and like puts you back into that other person centeredness, that heart centeredness. Okay. Put your hand over your heart for a second and take like 5 deep breaths. Think about somebody you love, and I dare you not to cry. That's your true nature. Your true nature is not selfish, not constantly overthinking, not constantly, turning yourself inside out about having to make things happen. Your true self is other person centered. We all are. I truly believe that. And so that gratefulness leads me to the last acronym, which is Y, which I have coined as yes, because I want you to affirm all of this daily. That's the last step in this process, is that you've got to take everything and actually believe it and put yourself in the vision and then let it go. And then do the daily work. You can't just say this one time and expect it to happen, right? You can't go to the gym one day and be like, oh, did I lose 5 pounds? I mean, I basically, that's kind of every time I go to the gym, that's my thought process, but it just doesn't work that way, right? It would be nice if it did, but it doesn't. And so it's really, really important for you to stretch this muscle every single day, to do a daily practice, whether that is 5 to 10 minutes in the morning or 5 to 10 minutes in the afternoon or the evening. You guys know, a lot of you in my circle know that I prefer to do a lot of this work at night. For some reason, that's just when I can decompress better. I'm a human design generator, and I'm really designed to expend all my energy by the end of the day. And so I think that's part of it. Like, I'm really productive in the morning, but when I get up in the morning, I want to go. Like, I'm excited to get like right to work. I know it sounds really geeky, but it's true, you guys. Like, I absolutely love what I do. And, that's how I know that I'm living in my alignment, is because I am filled with that joy. So I just want to like get to my emails, get to my messages, get to my coaching students, open Voxer. Who can I help today? Who can I serve? So it's really hard for me to be reflective in the morning. Now, the exception to this is like Sunday mornings. I like a slow little Sunday morning with my coffee. But for the most part, I'm doing this work at night before I go to sleep. I find it just works better for my brain. It works better for the way that I live my life and my energy. Like, my energy is just lower and it's more open, and I'm more chill, and I'm just a lot more relaxed in the evening. So that's when I like to do this work. And again, I like to journal. I like to write a few things down. Sometimes if I'm too tired for that, I'm just going to put my earbuds in. I actually have one of those really cool sleep masks. Maybe I'll put it in the comments, because I know people always ask me every time I mention it. But it's a sleep mask that has speakers built inside. It's super soft, and you can just hook it up like a Bluetooth to your phone. So I usually just listen to hypnosis tracks, and then you can just fall right to sleep. So it's pretty awesome. I also put all my tracks over binaural beats. So, I mean, like, some serious deep sleep is going to be happening. But the key is that you have to believe it and say yes to it every single day. you're going to fall off the wagon every once in a while. I get it. It's just like anything else. But once this becomes a habit, after you've done this for a few weeks, it's going to become second nature to you. And you're going to start to really look forward to it, which is really cool. So that's the C.L.A.R.I.T.Y method. That is what I live by. It's what I teach. It is a process that I know works. I've got proof of it in my own life, and I've got proof of it in my own coaching students' lives, whether they're one-on-one or in the group. I mean, we've been having some really amazing wins from my Elevate group. This is a $49 a month membership. And some of the things that these photographers are like unraveling and finding out about themselves and about their businesses. Oh, it's so good. I share about it sometimes on social, but it's like I'm a proud mama. I love when you guys share any of your wins from any of my programs. Like it lights me up like you have no idea. Because it can be hard sometimes, right? Like I'm putting out all this stuff and it lights me up and I feel an alignment. But if I'm not getting feedback from people, it's hard to know. It's just like anything else. So my intention with this is that it really helps you guys on a deep level and gets you either started on this path of self-awareness and building a killer business, or if you're already walking this path, whether it's with me or just on your own, I hope that you're able to take this content and it adds fuel to your fire. So that's this week's podcast. Let me know what you guys think. Share it, love it, give us some reviews. You can go to ratethispodcast.com/Renee Bowen. I'm going to put that in the show notes. Makes it really easy for you guys to rate and review us. And I absolutely appreciate all of you so much for just listening, but also if you review, I mean, it just means the world to me. And go listen to the School of Moxie podcast as well today. Honestly, like I absolutely loved The Last of Us. And it's not normally my kind of show. It really isn't. Like I'm not that kind of, I don't like those kind of shows, but Pedro, man, he really got me to watch that show. And then I was hooked. It's phenomenal storytelling. So if you're a fan of the show too, you're really going to love this podcast. But I want to hear from all of you guys, like whether you email me or hit me up on Instagram, DM me, let me know. And one last little final reminder for my photographers who follow me. If you are a high school senior photographer specifically, and you want to learn how to run a senior rep team, or you want to take your senior rep team and actually, make it make money for you, I have a program for you and it's 50% off, but only until Labor Day. You can use the code CREATE at checkout to get 50% off the Creative Team Method. This is the program that I used to build a senior program when there absolutely was nothing like it anywhere around me in 2007. And I do things very differently than most senior photographers, and I teach it in a very different way because our teenage clients today want something really different than how we've been running these model teams. And way too many of you senior photographers are killing yourselves trying to build teams. It's costing you money. It's costing you way too much time. And you could be doing this. A lot of my students actually make $40,000 or over or more just from their team, not even including their regular clients. And it keeps them booked year round. I want this for you too. So I'm going to put all of this in the show notes. Use the code CREATE at checkout to get 50% off, but only until Labor Day, guys. And then it goes back up to full price. All right, that's it. Have a really awesome rest of your week. I can't wait to see you guys on social media. Come hang out with me and chat with me. Have an absolutely beautiful day. I love you guys.